Okay, welcome. Today is the regular meeting of the Commissioners. It's a first public hearing on a permissive use tax.
You're buying books, and all he does is eat the covers.
So, and I assume we start with the pledge to the flag, as in all meetings. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everybody that's here, have you signed in on the sign-in sheet? They're passing it around now? Okay, very good.
Okay, Commissioner Riddell,
Here,
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
yes, there'll be a quiz at the end of the meeting, so you have to sign up so that we get you a quiz. Okay, Mr. Kleiber, are you front and center? I didn't know if you were gonna do it or Sean.
Actually, Sean will, but Robert Kleiber, 247 Hadaway Street, Lorain County Engineer's Office. As you know, we're here today for our first hearing for the permissive $5 license plate fee for Lorain County. What I'd like to do is, it was probably about a year ago, we gave a very detailed presentation for the public who may be watching. I would like, if it's agreeable, to go ahead and we'll give a shorter version of that, so Sean will be giving that right now. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Sean DeFalla, 247 Hadaway, the Lorain County Engineer's Office. So just make sure what we have here. So this is a brief presentation on what the vehicle registration permissive fee is and what we're requesting be enacted by the Commissioners. So what little background about us, what we do as a county engineer. Our duties are really defined in ORC 31508. Basically says that we design, construct, maintain all of our roadways and bridges, right? I mean, that's the bulk of what we do. We currently maintain 269 miles of roadway. We'll actually be adding a couple miles once Sandstone Parkway is completed. 124 of that is asphalt. 145 miles are made up of chip and seal roadways, which everybody loves. 235 bridges we also maintain. Many of those are within cities. There are actually 32 of them. We inspect those annually. We rate them on a scale of 0 to 9. And we really start programming those for replacement once they reach about a 5 on that scale. So, and then another note here is that about 71 of our bridges currently are at that rating. So again, the vehicle registration permissive fee, what are they? They are $5 fees that are collected on renewals of your license plate. So if somebody in Amherst Township, I know my parents live in Amherst Township, they pay like $39 for a renewal on license plate fee. What we're requesting would add $5 to that every year when they go to renew it. They are, per the ORC, 450402, and then the one we're enacting, or requesting be enacted, is 450424. It says that they are to be used for the planning, construction, improving, maintaining, and repairing of public roads, highways, and streets. That's what we're asking for today. Who can enact these fees? We can as the county. Townships have the ability, and cities. There are 4 currently available to the county. We have none. We'll go over that a little bit later. Cities have certain ones that they can enact that we don't have access to. There are some that we can enact, like the one we're requesting today, that cities don't have access to. So our proposed enactment is under ORC 450424. This would mean that 100% of the fees collected via the registrations, all the fees collected, would come to the county for use for infrastructure projects, right? That's what we're requesting, anything that's capital improvement
When you
based.
say county, you mean county engineer's office?
County engineer's
Okay,
office,
thank
correct. Cities, as I stated before, do not have the ability to enact this fee. There are many, like I said, there are 3 that are available to both. Many cities have enacted some of those fees, some have, some haven't. We have some additional information if there are questions here today. But again, how will the fees be used? It'll be project-based. We want to use these on bridge replacements, bridge rehabs, road resurfacings. Some roads don't have the ability to get federal funding. Some don't qualify for it. We would use our money there. We would use it as local match on projects that do qualify for federal funding. So when we get 80% of federal fund, 80% of a project for federal funds, we'd have to bring 20% to the table still. Those are generally larger projects. We would use that money for there as well. The biggest reason we are asking for this today is really this slide. It really shows what we have anticipated in the next 4 years. We are projecting a deficit in each of those years based on the current projects we have programmed through federal aid. We also anticipate OPWC costs. Great time to plug OPWC. Hopefully that sticks around and everyone's voting for that. There are some miscellaneous costs that our office would incur, miscellaneous fees for projects, as well as local costs. That's what we have projected, right? That's just now, right now, currently planned. We currently are projecting a deficit, which is why we're here. So I think what we are asking for would cover that deficit. And then finally, just kind of wanted to go over how we compare as Lorain County to other counties here in the state. We're the 9th largest county by population based on the last census. This slide here shows the top 10. Just shows that, I think what this shows is that we have been a good steward of county tax dollars, right? I think we will continue to be a good steward of county tax dollars when you see that 9 of the top 10 have a minimum of 3. And this is based on the data that we pulled in 2022. It could have possibly even gone up to where some of those other ones have 4 enacted right now. Or, like I said, we are requesting the enactment of 1, which would be that far right column, the 450424. I think this one just spoke to me from our last presentation. Just indicated, I think, that we've been doing some stuff right and not requesting $5 every time it's become available, which I think a lot of counties do. I think that just speaks well to us and how we will continue to use the money if we're able to get it. So that really was my presentation. I wasn't really trying to go too in depth. We gave a pretty long presentation previously. I know it was maybe before Commissioner Gallagher, so if Commissioner Gallagher has any questions or anything like that, we really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And with that, if there are any questions.
Could you go over the use of the funds? Is this exclusively to match with other funds for projects, or could this be used for county employees to go out and do, because you said maintenance and care of roads, and so
we would not be using it on maintenance. We would be using it on capital improvement projects. Okay. So anytime that we would need to replace a bridge, rehab a bridge, resurface a roadway, we could use it on chip and seal, but it's going to be actual work getting done. We may be able to use it on planning of those projects as well.
Actually, it was Mr. Armbruster, North Ridgeville did this some years back. Our plan was if the commissioners decided to go forward, it would be in the resolution that would only be used for projects, not for employees.
In other words, it could be used for maintenance, but that's not your goal, and you'd be willing to,
yes,
protect that in the language.
The draft resolution that we did send out, I had included that already. So.
Okay.
In regards to the financial document, not the one that's up there, but the one prior to that, you show deficit for the next 4 years. Is that if there is no fee?
Right.
Yeah, we would have to decide what project we would have to forego. Like right now, as Sean pointed out, like bridges, a lot of our road project with federal aid, we have to program them out 4, 5, 6 years ahead of time.
Let me back up. On the left-hand
There
here,
it
yeah,
goes.
here you go, you say deficit. Does
Yeah.
that's not if we do
No,
pass this.
that's why we're here today,
So what I'm
Commissioner.
trying to find out is what's it look like if it gets passed? What's the numbers?
We didn't, like I said, right now, I believe that Permissive would bring in maybe about $1.4 million. It would take care of
Per
all the.
year or?
Per year,
Correct.
yeah.
But if that's 1.4, you're at, you're at 3 million.
Yeah, what we'd like to do is some more projects that aren't eligible for federal aid or.
Okay,
or
so
some more
this will actually increase.
Yes,
Yeah, we would actually be able to do
More work.
additional projects.
Okay.
and likewise, if more federal funds came, that could be the 20% match,
So you're at about 1.4 a year roughly that this will generate?
yes.
Okay, now, I've talked to you in the past, or we've talked about this in the past. I went to several Lorain County Township Trustee Association meetings. We talked to, Neil Lynch, is the one that came up with a lot of these ideas and shared the costs throughout the whole county instead of just targeting the townships. Another Brownhelm Township had in their resolution, an amendment that said that they exempted the farmers.
I don't know if you can exempt farm, but we looked at, and again,
Yeah.
that's something that's up to the commissioners, we can exempt trailers.
That's what I mean, that's what they exempted.
Yes, and
And
Maggie,
they said they received, after, they had unlike our crowd today, they had crowds in their meetings because they were gonna do this. But once we took out the trailers, they
Yeah.
said it was everybody was fine with it,
if
so.
we take out the trailers, Sean, what does it would reduce, because we did call the state as to how much.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did email down to the state after one of those meetings with the townships. They took out all non-commercial trailers.
Okay.
Believe the only ones that would be allowed to be exempt would be maybe 1,000 pounds or less,
Right.
not exceeding 1,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Based on that, we would still be getting like 1.387 million
Okay.
with the $5
So
permissive.
some of these guys had like 10, 15 trailers,
Yeah, I think they
Well,
projected like 17,818 trailers
But
is
yeah,
what they
but
took out.
The trailers you're talking about are not those same ones, those are like boat trailers, jet ski trailers, lawn mower trailers, 1,000 pounds or less. They're, non-commercial trailers. You
Per the
said
code, those are the only ones I believe that
That's the only one.
can
you
be taken out.
that can be? Okay.
That's correct.
So then commercial trailers, dump trailers, all that stuff would still be,
That's correct.
okay.
So I guess the question now is for legal. We're having a public hearing today. We're gonna have another one next week. We don't have the actual resolution in front of us. So so as we move forward, do we have the ability to change? Because we don't have to have the resolution that we're debating today, right?
No.
Because you can still work with us before we have that decision, right?
That's
And how
correct.
we're gonna, okay, I just wanna make sure. And what I wanted to point out though is this was a good job on, Victor, the next page that shows the $5 fee. This is what I think what's amazing is that we don't have any fees. And at 4504.24 is not going towards salaries. I just wanna make sure that's repeated again.
And that's
correct.
already in the draft resolution.
I know, it's in the draft resolution, but
I believe Teresa has a copy of the draft.
yes.
You do.
Yes, and the process would be that we have 2 hearings, they
Here's
have to
2.
be held they have to be held close like that.
10 days.
10
We're
days.
not trying to expedite anything, it's just, that's the code for holding the hearings. And then the commission would make a decision at some point, hopefully before too long, so that if in fact it is approved or submitted by the commission, the state of Ohio has to have time to update their
Yeah, what would happen, Commissioner,
computers and so forth.
if we do not, if you decide to go forward with it, if it is not enacted by July, then it would wait a whole calendar year. So in order for this to go on the 2026 registrations, it would have to be approved by July. If you decided to say wait till August or September, it would skip a whole year, then would not start till 27.
So there's no statute in regards to how long? Because I think it said we have 10 days to have 2 meetings. So
That's
there's
just
no-
for the hearings.
Yeah, for the
Right.
hearings, I should say, but there's no time frame in regarding when we have to vote?
No, I don't believe so.
Because I want to make sure we don't miss that and have to start over, that's all.
Well, July 1st is to get it enacted for next
30
year.
days.
Okay.
So what you want to know is whether or not after the hearings are held, if there's a time period for
Right.
the vote. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll be able to get it to
Okay.
you within the week.
because we also have to vote this year in regards to the TB levy. We have to suspend that every year until that levy expires. And I was looking at the cost, what it costs an average homeowner for that TB fee that we pay every year. We suspended it last year, and that fee is about the same as this fee. So I figured the way the way we're, I believe, moving forward is the homeowners are gonna at least continually get that break on that fee, and it looks like everybody's using our roads is gonna have to pay an annual fee. And this is something, once we pass this, if we pass this, we don't have to revisit it, correct? There's no time frame. This is a continuation.
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Out of the 71 bridges that are eligible, or 36 are eligible for federal funds, how many of those are in rural areas? And what is you might not have this answer right now, but what is the average cost for the replacement of those or the repairs?
Bridges are really all over the place depending on what span they have. So the bigger the bridge, the bigger the cost, right? So
Correct.
The biggest bridge we have is East 31st Street in the city of Lorain. I believe that's a little over 300-foot span. There's a 3-span structure that would take multiple millions of dollars to, probably tens of millions of dollars to replace. The smallest structures that we have that are bridges are 10 feet in span. Those can be replaced for probably like $150,000, on the cheap end, depending on what else is involved in the project.
So you'd have realistically about 10, if you were to just take all the small ones, 10 a year until they start catching
You
up.
could, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I think the majority of our structures are right around that 20 to 40 foot, probably anywhere, I guess 15 to 40. So there is a somewhat of a range there. A 40-foot structure could cost upwards of $1 million to replace.
What we do a lot of times, commissioners, with the smaller structures that aren't eligible for federal funds, those are very good candidates for OPWC. Again, another plug for OPWC. So what we would use these permissive then as the local match, because again, like very seldom is there grants where you get 100% funding in the grant. As Commissioner Moore pointed out, you always have to put something on the table. So again, that's where for funds like these would become the match against projects, because a culvert or a small bridge scores very well with Ohio Public Works, because as the bridge gets to a certain point, you either close it or it becomes a safety factor if you don't close it.
Right, and that's what we don't want.
Yes.
No, we certainly don't. And to follow up on your last question regarding are they in rural areas, 32 bridges that we have are within city limits. We've replaced multiple over the last couple of years. There are more that are in need of replacement within the cities, but the other, 235 minus 32 are in the townships. So the majority of our bridges are in the townships. Some of our larger structures are in the cities. Those are the ones that cost a little bit more.
In summary, our most expensive bridges are in the cities. Not only because of the size, but because of the cost to replace them. Like right now, the project we're starting to look at, you would know where this is at, Commissioner Moore. It's on Cooper Foster, just east of Route 58. That's multiple. Like we would have to do that bridge. There's no way we could close Cooper Foster to replace the bridge. You go to half with construction, you add time and you add cost to the project.
So most of them are pretty much like culverts going under the road, shorter span versus the larger ones.
By definition, I'll give you all a quick bridge lesson. In Ohio, a span over 10 foot is considered a bridge. For federal funds, the span has to be greater than 20 feet. So legally, as far as ODOT looks at, any structure with a span of 10 feet or larger is considered a bridge. Anything less than that's a culvert.
Very good.
I think your most recent bid was Gorford, wasn't it? One of the bigger ones?
And that was a lucky one, Commissioner. We got 100% for that one.
Okay. What was the price tag on that, just for,
Including the slide, we're at $4 million.
well, God said that the mouth of the river is wider than the beginning of the river, so the bridge has to be a little longer. Any further questions, commissioners?
Nope.
No?
At this juncture, while we have, don't go away yet, Sean.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions from the crowd, including the media?
Is there a cap to the number Am I on? Okay.
Just identify yourself.
Oh, sure. Dave O'Brien from the Chronicle.
You need your address too.
Oh, 225 East Avenue, Elyria. Is there a cap? Is there a $20 cap on these fees?
I believe the ORC says that you can pay up to 6 of them.
But that's combined, correct, with the cities, the townships?
That's correct.
Some townships have this, some don't.
Yeah, I think Mr. Kleiber is an example. He lives in another county, but he pays 5 of them.
As do I.
So does our prosecutor.
You telling on
We're
each
very
other?
privileged.
I brought it to her attention.
He was gleeful to bring it to my attention. Guess what you're paying?
Are there any other questions from the audience tonight? Well, the next hearing will be next Tuesday, April 22nd, same 4:30. We hope to be able to start on time. We do have a regular board meeting at 3:30.
Actually, Commissioner, actually, just to give you a little knowledge of other counties, we have Andy Conrad, who's the county engineer from Medina County. He was gonna say a few words about what they
Oh.
use it for, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, Andy,
Thank
you're
you for
part of the
coming.
audience.
Thank you for coming out.
That was a direct request for you.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon, and I saw that you guys were having a hearing and looking at enacting the first permissive fee for the county. And I went through the same exact process for 450424, which is the same one, April of 23. So I was having the same discussions with my Board of Commissioners as Bob and Sean are having with you guys. And one of the things that we had a discussion at Medina County is that our budgets in the county engineer's office is relatively flat. And for a 15-year period, my budget had increased over those 15 years 3.4%. But the cost of doing business had increased over 50%. So we were no longer able to do more with less. We were just doing less with less. And that was one of the things that, I was able to give examples to our commissioners of projects that really needed to be done, that were safety projects. Our bridge inventory, the general appraisal, our inventory as a whole was just getting less and less because it was getting older. We weren't able to repair or replace things on the normal cycle that we should be. So, I would encourage you to listen to what was being presented, because it does, I think, knowing Bob and Sean, they want to do the right thing for the constituents here in Lorain County, but they've got to have some funding to be able to do that. And I was surprised when I heard that you guys had 0 of the permissives, because that is a tall order to maintain the infrastructure that they have without the additional permissive fees. But much like they did, we are using for capital improvements. Specifically, this one was for bridge projects. So it does for me 1 to maybe 3 bridges a year. I have 282 bridges on my inventory, and we're knocking off a couple of the little ones and maybe a medium-sized bridge a year, just to kind of get caught up. So that's what we're doing, and that's my point of reference. So if you had any questions, and we had hearings just like this. We had 2 gentlemen come in and they were here before the meeting, and they came in and said, what is this actually about? And I explained it to them, and they're like, I live in the city, and it's only going to cost me an extra $5. And they're like, one guy stuck around just to hear it, one guy left. So I don't know that a lot of people are. It's truly a user tax. Is for the infrastructure that the people are using are the ones that are going to help pay for it. So if you had any questions, more than.
I was surprised that wasn't the argument, that wasn't one of the arguments that our staff made, and that is that, gasoline tax is flat because it's the same cents per gallon and the gallons aren't growing. So the revenue stream's not going. And even this $5 plate fee, it's gonna be $5, $5, $5, and yet every year the costs of doing business are gonna go up somewhat, hopefully less than what they've been, but they're still gonna go up somewhat, so, yeah.
The state legislature in 2016 was wrestling with how to fund the infrastructure projects, and they recognized there's not enough funding to do all the projects. So that is why in 16 they enacted this permissive was codified in 2016. So it's a fairly new one, and much like the Lorain County Engineer's Office, I was of the same. I'm not coming to my commissioners until I needed it. And I was starting to project some shortfalls, and that's when I came to my commissioners in 2023, 7 years after it was available. I'm saying that these are the projects I need to do. This is the funding that I have. There's a gap here. And this $5 permissive fee is not gonna make up that entire gap, but it's gonna help. And we were successful, and
How many of the permissive fees, the $5 fees do you have?
we went through at that point, when I took office in 17, we had 2 of those enacted from the 80s, the 1980s. And then in 17, when I took office, we enacted the 3rd, but like Sean indicated, some of those are first come, first served. So whoever enacts it first, if a village or city or township enacts some of the permissives, the county doesn't collect any of the money from it. It's just a couple of the outlying areas. So we do now have all 4, but we don't collect all the money from all 4 because some of the villages and cities, as soon as they became available, they enacted it. So the county just doesn't collect the money.
Very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming
for
out
coming
to
out.
share your
Yeah.
experience with
Yeah.
us. It's nice to have a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You absolutely.
Brian Baker, 49822 Greystone Drive. I think it would be helpful, I know, Bob, you did it at the OTA, Township Trustee Association. You had what every township, every city, how many they paid. I think before we decided this, it would be good information to put up here. I currently live in Brownhill. I think I pay 10. City of Amherst pays 1% for their road. So they're all mixed up, but I think people should know what they're paying. Because it isn't just a $5, it's I think the city of Lorain is $20. If I'm not right, 20?
Each one's different.
That's what I'm saying, but I think the commissioners, you should see all that information before you decide, just put another 5 on. It's just not $5, that's $25 for the city of Lorain. That's 1% in Amherst, plus they're gonna pay 5 more. Is there gonna be a project in Amherst? Who knows? But the people should know that at least, and I think you should be open and transparent to that, so, thank you. I think that should be prepared for next week's hearing, so that you could show all that information. I know you had it when we did it in, I think it was Henrietta, because I was there that night, and you went through it, because you were the one that told me what I had. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other contributions from the audience? Well, seeing none,
I'll go ahead and follow up really quick with the legal information. No, the statute doesn't require you to pass the resolution within a period of time after the hearings are held. It just says prior to the adoption of the resolution. The hearings need to be held, but it also will not go into effect for 30 days until after it's passed, and it has to be certified by that July. So there needs to be that period of time, the 30-day period of time for there to possibly, it's subject to referendum if that's a requirement, if that's what people want to do. So there,
Don't wait till the last minute. We
That's
need
correct.
to,
looks like end of May.
no, we need to do it earlier than that, because June 1st, or he needs 30 days.
Right?
He's gotta get it into the state by the 1st of July, right?
Yep.
So maybe I'm thinking April. When's our next meeting, the
You mean
22nd?
April?
April,
No, May 6th.
May 6th could be the next one, is that what you're
Well, because
thinking?
we don't meet again. I mean,
Easter.
our hearing's not till the 22nd. which is next week.
Would that be
I mean,
sufficient?
we do have a meeting on Friday, but
Next
May,
week.
Right, so
May
would May
6th?
6th be a good date for you?
Sure, yeah.
Because you're the one that has to review it.
Take you all the way up through the beginning of June, and that should be enough time then for you to have it submitted.
And one more question for the engineer's office. Is there, in these bridges and all this stuff, is there any city or any township that doesn't have any that would need work?
I'd have to double check, Commissioner. I think the big thing we were looking at it's whether it's in a city or not is I think, I'm gonna quote Neil Lynch again, is that everyone's using them, like, because his good example was Middle Ridge Road, which we just resurfaced last year. Yeah, it's in Amherst Township, but how many people from Lorain use that? How many people from the city of Amherst use that? How many people from all the southern townships? That's how we were looking at this as a regional approach. Same thing I just pointed out, Commissioner Moore, on Cooper Foster Road there. There's a lot of people use Cooper Foster Road, so I'd mean to point out, yeah, maybe it's in the city of Amherst and Lorain, but we can't say that just those residents are using that structure.
Right, but, well, my point is really, if you really look at the grand scheme, every city, every township has some project that could be affected by the money and revenue from this.
Pretty much
That's
so.
really where I was going with it.
And there may be one that say, no, like,
Yeah.
again, I don't, like, you get a small village like Rochester, do we have a project? I don't believe we do, but again, you may get.
Maybe
an odd
not
one.
this year, maybe next year, or a township, or what we called it township when I was a kid, but, or, asphalt repairs, whatever. That's why I was asking that, because if everybody's affected, then any question as to where that, I'm not the one, the benefactor of it, but your point with the roads was
That
very
was
important. to
Neil's. I
this.
keep quoting Neil Lynch.
Yep,
Neil
So
Lynch.
very
does
good.
Commissioner Moore.
I'll take it, whatever, That's the beauty of going to the township meetings. So I had a couple of trustees saying, we only have 9 miles of road. I don't want my people to pay anything. And I'm like, they drive more than those 9 miles, so. If we're gonna do something on May 9th, I think it'd be wise if you could work on looking up the suspension that we did last year on the
for the
TP.
TV? Okay.
If we could do them both on that same meeting, I think it'd be appropriate. And then find out how many more years we have on that, because I think that was a 5-year levy, I believe. Do you think, or no?
I think it's a 10-year.
Oh, it's a 10-year? I thought we were coming up close to the,
Yeah.
if you could get that data, that would be interesting.
Nobody likes a tax, Bob, but I like your comment that, this is, or Sean, this is a user tax. The only people that pay this tax are the people who use the roads.
I'll credit Andy Conrad with saying that today, but had you heard the full presentation from last year, that was definitely part of it, as was the increased cost for construction. We were trying to whittle it down a little bit here today.
But this helps us with, this comes up, we don't have to use our general fund to come up with the other 20%. So in order to get more federal tax dollars, this helps us get more money for our county. That's how I see it. So for every dollar we spend, we get another 4, right?
And it certainly helps improve the infrastructure
Right.
in Lorain County.
And at the end of the day, Commissioner, I would hate to ever have the opportunity for federal funds and not have the local match, right?
Right.
Have to let them go to someone else.
Correct.
Andy would take them.
Oh, yeah, that's why he's here.
He's here to catch the scraps.
I'm not proud, I'll take them.
Well, I thought I had a close for commentary 3 times. Is there
Sorry.
anybody else that would like to speak?
How about this? I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
And I'll second
There
that.
you go.
There you go.
Discussion, Commissioner
goes.
Moore,
Aye.
Commissioner Gallagher,
Aye.
Commissioner Riddell.
Aye. We'll see you April 22nd at 4:30.
We are adjourned.
We are adjourned.
Maybe we'll have a bigger fan
Thanks for
club.
coming in. Oh, Lister shows up when the work's done. Romantic shows up. Where have you been?
I actually, I
Yeah,
already
exactly.
have that resolution. I didn't give it to you guys today. I have it for next week.
I know, I wanna use that TV one.
No, I'm saying for
Yeah, but
this
does
one.
that resolution have the fireworks exemption in it?
I think we took Bob or Sean. 'cause they gave-